Things men will never tell women, but are very obvious. Many men wouldn't even dare date half the women that they follow. They just add and follow them out of impulse. To the point where it's become almost instinct for them to do it because they made a habit out of doing it while single. And even if they were given a chance to date them, many of them would sabotage it because they only like certain parts and pieces of them. They know, but they're not going to tell themselves that they're initiating an inevitable self-destruct. Because that would entail telling himself to not pursue something that he doesn't need. They just told themselves she has more layers for him to see to give him a reason to pursue. He needed a reason to not only tell himself, but to tell her, because he's not going to tell her that he's pursuing her for other reasons. But besides that perspective, they're only attractive enough to him for him to tap and like, but not date and slide. And half of the time when they're following the John, they don't even realize that they're doing it subconsciously. They don't realize how many IG women and models they're following until they look at their friend list. Because they had built up a habit of following them so often and frequently, it's like their mind was connected to their thumb working as a trigger finger. And many of them never end up seeing her content ever again because they followed her off of seeing one video. But they also follow many others, so it all just looks the same to them. And since his following list continues to grow, he never truly returns back to the first woman that he viewed because he's always occupied with somebody else. And then he ends up viewing that woman's content 1 to 2 times, then so on and so forth. They rarely ever go to the extent of trying to revisit her page. Pretty much going out of his way to typing in the name and searching for her. And if he sees a video or picture of her while he's scrolling on his Explore page, his image of her has become so diluted in the back of his mind that it doesn't elicit the same response as he initially had in the first place. Once again, he'll like it out of impulse, but he won't dwell on it unless he's truly obsessed with her. And usually these men are not obsessed with her, it's just spur of the moment lust. But once again, many of them gotta tell themselves that it's something else. But a good chunk of them do actually end up unadding her months later when they gotta go through their friend list. Or when they need to do a cleanup when they want to get into a relationship with the woman that they actually want, not the one that they lusted after. Because even they know when the dust settles, that temptation is temporary. There's many y'all contacts right now that have women in their following list that they seen one video of on their Explore page that they chose to follow because they felt so enticed. And those same models that are in his following list, he would not even crave after his clarity hits. So when they get that clarity from another woman that isn't her, they use that guilt to unfollow her. They're literally thinking to themselves while scrolling through their friend list like, damn, I'm an animal. It's the same feeling they feel after going down the rabbit hole of dirty hub videos. They even go as far as to analyze their own sanity and retrace their own steps back to the woman's page. And that's when they have that reconciling with themselves and say, damn, I really followed her off of one good video of some yams and yitty that she posted 8 months ago. I really can't fathom a reason to follow her besides that specific reason. But that feeling of urge to find that satisfying on her done left my body already. They trace it back to its origin and they're super curious about it, but they won't tell you that though, because why would they? The only other time that they revisited was to unadd her. And this is what I meant when I said in many cases, a lot of the women that he follows aren't really his type. Them are just women that he lusts after. The list is hoarded more than it is admired. They usually don't speak, so she only has things on her that he can visually objectify, and he only likes her in pieces. Which means that he views her as having pieces on her that any other woman could have. Nothing to actually make him genuinely care though. Especially if there was no conversation for her to entertain, he has nothing else to see. For many people, liking photos and following pages is a boundary. For many people it isn't. It really depends upon how it affects your boundaries personally and how you want your relationship dynamic to be wired.